Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Too Fat DJs. I'm Ian Forrest.
And I'm Nick Chatton.
And we are the Too Fat DJs!
Fuck you.
Oh, we'll just roll with that. Or should we do it again?
What was wrong with that one then? Is it your dodgy internet? It was all right. That sounded all right to me.
I think it is dodgy internet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Right. Well, we'll roll with that one then. It should be all right. So, hello guys, and welcome to episode 6. Firstly, I just want to apologise for the lateness of this episode. We have had a busy week, haven't we? I've been busy. You've been busy.
Yeah, very busy. Yeah, very. And that's what.
So apologies. It does pay the bills. Yeah. So apologies if you missed our regular Friday episode and you'd set yourself up ready for it and it didn't happen. Apologies.
I'd like to try harder. I'd like to think that we had a nation of really sad people because they missed us on Friday. I don't know how true that is. I think
you're right.
I'd like to think that there were people crying in their cornflakes at 9 o'clock on Friday morning thinking, oh, it might be Easter and it might be chocolate, but I can't even get my fix of Too Fat DJs.
The reality is that they were sat there going, no episode today? Oh, right, okay, all right. Let's go and find something else to do.
Or
I just want to point this out. This isn't mine, by the way. But I noticed that someone did leave. I don't know if you can see that.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 cream eggs.
I know. This is as well as the 2 that are in the fridge at the minute.
You know what you should be doing with them cream eggs, don't you?
Putting them in the bin.
No.
Actually, no, putting them up your bottom, apparently, according to the Sun newspaper.
Oh, really? No, what I was going to... I mean, that sounds interesting, but what I would do with them 2 cream eggs is wrap them in turkey mince, some wholemeal bread, and there
that'd be a good idea.
Your chocolate Scotch eggs.
Yeah.
So you got a healthy slant on it as well. Just do it. I'd like to see you do it, just to let me know what they taste like.
Well, yeah, just better than putting them up your bottom. If anybody did read the tabloids over the weekend, there is a world record for putting cream eggs up your bottom. I think it's 6.
No.
That's just the bizarrest.
I've done 7.
Bizarrest thing I've ever heard.
I've done 7, so that's not a world record.
Moving on very quickly. Nick, I'm going to hand this over to you. You can start this week.
Thanks. Well, anyway, so last week I weighed in on Wednesday morning, and obviously I couldn't report anything on Friday. So as of Wednesday, I had lost another 2.5 pounds. So I was pleased. That was good. Which takes my total weight loss now to 3 stone 9.5 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm hoping that this week I break into that other sort of barrier that I'm waiting to hit, which is 4 stone. So we'll see.
Nice.
But, yeah, and again, from like a week ago, lots of temptation in my way. There really was. And it would have been really, really easy to slide off the track, you know.
Wagon.
The wagon, that was the word I was looking for, to slide off the wagon. And I was good. I was really good. So I think when I started this journey, I was aiming at £2 every week. If I could lose £2 every week, then I would be on target to lose 7 stone by September. So to lose 2.5, again, I'm well in credit, so I'm really pleased with that. So yeah, it was a good week. You know, lots of different things that I'd done as well. Stepped up the exercise, which I think probably does help a lot. So yeah, all good. Really pleased, and
well done.
This week's going all right as well. So obviously we're recording this on Easter Monday. which is today. I've not had a piece of chocolate pass my lips, which is good. I'm not really a sweet sort of person anyway, much more savoury. Give me a Scotch egg rather than a chocolate egg. Yeah, this week I'm doing all right as well. I'm doing all right. But anyway,
Excellent.
enough
Sorry,
about
excellent. Sorry,
excellent. Yes,
excellent.
yes. So anyway, enough about me. What about you, Ian?
Well, like we say, we are recording this on a Monday, so I've got 2 weigh-ins to report because I had one from last week and obviously one from this morning. So last week, I need to get my book out because I forgot. Last week, I lost 5.5 pounds, which I was really pleased about.
Brilliant.
Bringing my total weight loss then to 2 stone 5 pounds, and it got me one of those,
Superb.
which I was really quite pleased about. And also, I got one of those as well, Slimmer of the Week.
Woo!
Um, Slim, if you've never been to Slimming World, right? Anyone watching this, they have a prize for Slimmer of the Week, and basically everyone who comes to the meeting brings with them something from their home, right? Usually something that's rotting away. So in there, you usually got like a banana, an apple, some kind of fruit, some packet soup, or some other thing like that. But every week, without fail, there is the Slimming World Palm Cottage can of lentils every single week,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I'm really pleased to have the lentils. I didn't actually take them back today because it was just a weigh and go today, but they'll be going back there next week. I'm sure it's a running joke just to see how long, just to see
Yeah.
how many times they can go around the houses.
Yeah.
So I weighed in this morning as well. I was down there at 9:30 this morning, and this morning I lost another 2 pounds, bringing my total weight loss now to 2 stone 7, which now means I've lost exactly 2.5 stone. So I got one of those. I was quite pleased about that.
A good time.
So that was good. I'm now 25 stone 10, 4.5 pounds to my first 10%. So yeah, I'm getting there. And now the front of my book has got lots of stickers on it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to start on the back soon.
Go Forest.
So
Go Forest.
so I'm well pleased. Did anything? I haven't had any chocolate. Well, I've not had any chocolate egg-shaped chocolate. We get these skinny whip bars from Iceland, which are really quite nice. They're about 99 calories, and we have them as our kind of chocolate treat. So after my gig last night, I had a peanut butter one, which was
nice, aren't
divine.
they?
Really, really nice.
Yeah,
they are nice. I like the dark chocolate mint one. That is one of my favourites. But something else I've been snaffling on this week is polo mints and extra strong mints, because I discovered, well, the extra strong mints are half a sin each.
Yeah.
So they're quite nice. And the polo mints are 3 for half a sin. And that's whether you eat the regular ones or the sugar-free ones. So that's what I've been kind of snaffling on.
Yeah, I didn't even think that there was any sins in extra strong mints, because I used to eat a lot of them when I was dieting before. But that's interesting.
Yeah,
So
no, if you look on the app, they are half a sin each. So not too bad. I made a packet last 3 or 4 days, something like that. They are quite moreish, I suppose. They do extra strong ones now, but I can't seem to find them anywhere. And I don't like the green ones. I prefer the blue ones. The blue ones are the best ones.
Yeah. I forgot that they do 2 colours in them. Yeah.
Mm.
So how much better have you been feeling since you've lost 2.5 pounds? What have you noticed different?
Well, the mountain that hides little Ian is disappearing. So little Ian is beginning to appear a bit more, which is quite nice.
You can see little Ian more, yeah, good.
That is good. It's always a good thing.
Oh yeah.
My face it's certainly got a lot thinner.
Yeah.
I can now fit into some t-shirts that were a bit snug. They're now less snug.
Yeah.
They still have the teaser strip, unfortunately, but I think that's just because they're just cheap t-shirts, and when they wash, they just get shorter and shorter to the point where they become boob tubes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have noticed. I took my kind of naked pictures just over the weekend, and I'm still really not noticing massive differences. But I don't know. Maybe I've got no idea.
Okay, so
There obviously is a difference. I've had to make 3 more holes in my belt because my belt doesn't hold up my trousers anymore.
yeah,
But yeah, it's all good. It's all heading in the right direction. So I'm quite pleased. I feel a bit more energetic, a bit more kind of.
yeah.
I
This
can move around a little bit more.
I was just going to say this because obviously we've got an interview coming up shortly as well with someone talking about exercise. But losing sort of 3 and 3/4 stone or whatever it is, I tell you the biggest difference I've found is, well, there's a lot of differences, but the one thing I'm really really pleased about is the reason we obviously we're recording this late is because we've been busy, and most of you know, and if you don't know, we're both DJs, so we're professional DJs. That's what we do. So a lot of it is standing behind a booth, and if we're doing weddings and we're hosting the day, then we're on our feet all day. So your feet tend to ache, and as a bigger guy, you really tend to suffer the following morning, when you get up and out of bed. And as I've said before, you're a bit like Bambi, you can hardly walk. So I've just come off the back of 3 days solid weddings. One of those was a day where I was hosting the whole day. I have to say, at the end of the night, at sort of quarter to midnight, normally I would feel like I just want to die. I just want to die on my feet. I feel so tired. But even driving home, the whole different mindset on what you're eating. You're eating healthier food. If you're eating crap, that doesn't help with your sleep. Because you will feel tired. If you're eating bread will make you lethargic. So the whole thing when you're eating, not as much bread, so much more energy. Like I say, in 3 days, 3 weddings, and I felt fine on my feet. I've absolutely fine. I drove home. I had a 2-hour drive home on Saturday night. And I can honestly say, normally I get halfway and I'm thinking, God, I need my bed. I'm so tired. But I would, because I've got water, so I'm drinking well and I'm not drinking crap. Such a difference. So much more energy loading my gear in and out, of the venue. That's a lot better. I'm not huffing and puffing as much. I'm not sweating as much, which is never a good sign for a fat guy. So,
No, you're right.
big difference, big difference.
I was worried yesterday because I did a wedding yesterday. It was a really warm day yesterday, Easter Sunday, and I was kicking myself because I didn't take my fan
Same here.
out the garage. It's the first time I would have taken my fan out, and I was really worried. And I take a towel with me, a small hand towel, just to kind of mop the brow because like when you're getting up and down on your knees and moving around, as a fat bloke, you sweat. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm really quite conscious of that. So I was really annoyed with myself I didn't take the fan. But I got there, we loaded in the photo booth and the disco and set everything up. And I really didn't need the fan at all. I mean, yeah, I felt a little bit kind of not stressed, but I was like huffing and puffing a little bit because I was moving gear around and setting it up and whatever. But I certainly was not anywhere near the how I would have felt normally just 8 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I was I was pretty pleased really. But yeah, I've got another one today. I got another wedding today. It's a bit cooler today, and I was able to leave my gear set up from last night. So there's not going to be much to do when I get there.
I
But
just
yeah,
think,
it's
yeah,
I do feel tons different.
yeah, I think in general, life is much more comfortable when you're not as heavy. It's as simple as that.
Mm,
It's
mm,
and again, as I've said many times, some people will get that, some people won't. But being overweight is really uncomfortable in most aspects of life. It really is. So as soon as you start to lose it, and your life becomes so much more easier, I think. And that's proved
mm.
the case for the last 3 days for me, anyway. So yeah, that's good. That's good. So anyway, what about them fat pictures we put online?
Yeah, well, I think that was quite interesting to do, really, because I knew I had them somewhere. I found them on my Facebook, a lot of them, and now I've made an album on my phone of fat pictures,
I've done
just to
exactly the
kind of
same. Yeah, I've done exactly.
and some lovely friends of mine. Lisa and Mark, they were quite happy to share with me some pictures that they took of when we went to Benidorm a few years ago. And they weren't flattering pictures at all. I was probably at my heaviest then. But no, they weren't good. And then I look back at a lot of older pictures, and I just think, my head's very it was like a football. It was very round,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't like looking at them, but I have to look at them to remind me of where I don't want to go back to. So that was the point behind it, and it was the same with yours. We both. I didn't feel ashamed. I never feel ashamed of how I look. I just looked at it and thought, I don't want to go back to that.
I think the biggest problem I had when I was at my heaviest is I knew I was heavy and I knew I needed to do something about it. But I would have other people saying, like my mum, for instance, or Doris would say, you know, well, I knew they were conscious of it, but they probably didn't go on about it. They didn't say like, "Oh, you got to lose weight," or "You got to do this," or "You got to do that." Teresa used to always say, "Oh, why don't you come for a walk? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" But they never really sort of got on. My biggest problem is, again, if anyone that knows me knows I love buying clothes. I love buying trainers. So that's almost a bloody sport for me, But I love spending money on clothes, and I've got a wardrobe or many wardrobes full of clothes. And I would put on clothes. I was always. I was quite clever in how I bought clothes. I would buy clothes. I would stand straight on at the mirror and I would look at myself and I would think, you look okay. You look okay. You don't really need to go on a diet at the moment because you look all right. The big wake up call then is when you look at yourself to the side and you see this huge belly. That's at the point where you think to yourself, shit, I don't look, because people don't just see you, face on. They see all of the swerves and curves. And when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're convincing yourself you look okay, you're normally face on and you're probably seeing yourself. Or, you might look at yourself in the mirror in the bathroom and you're only looking at yourself from your shoulders up and you think,
Like here.
I look quite normal. But actually, when you take your clothes off, you stand to the side, you realise, my God, that's the wake up. Or you walk past a shop window and you just catch an image of yourself from the side, and that's the bit that I think that brings it home, and you think, oh shit, I really need to do something about it.
I think the problem is that within yourself, internally, you may actually feel all right, but externally, you don't look healthy at all. So what you've got is this disconnect between how you feel and how you look. And you may look in the mirror and just think, yeah, I'm feeling good today. But in the mirror, there's a 27, 28 stone person looking back at you. And 27 or 28 stone is probably not a healthy weight to be at. But internally, you actually felt all right. And this is the same with me. I looked in the mirror and just thought, I don't feel too bad, actually.
Yeah.
Even though to anyone else, I'm like a walking heart attack.
Yeah.
And I still look at these fat pictures. I look at them and, like I said, I never feel ashamed of how I looked, but I look at them and just think, shit, yeah. When you look at pictures of yourself like that, it makes you realise that.
Did you ever get to the point where Did you ever get to the point where you felt really worried about your health? I mean, this is going to sound really odd, but if anyone had said to me, if anyone says to me, "How do you think you'll die?" Right? I probably would say a heart attack. That's and that's morbid, and I apologise if anyone's listening and they get offended by that. But if I'm going to die, I feel myself I'm quite sort of indestructible. I'm touching wood now. I don't want to tempt fate, obviously, but I very rarely get ill. Apart from my sinuses, I very rarely get ill. I'm pretty sort of pretty fly for a white guy when it comes to health, but. But if someone said to me 6 months ago, a year ago, how do you think you're going to die? I'd probably say, oh, a heart attack. And at that point, I think you then think, yeah, okay. And then as time goes on, you think, well, I haven't died of a heart attack yet, so I'll be all right. I can keep eating, I'll be all right, So at what point do you think to yourself, shit, I've got to stop. I've got to stop, you know?
Someone said on the telly this week, or someone said to me somewhere, it's harder to sell the idea of something to someone if they don't ever imagine being in that position in the
Yeah,
first place. So, for example, when, like you just said, you could die of a heart attack, you just think, well, I've managed over the past
yeah,
6 months, 8 months, 10 months. Okay, I'll be fine, right?
yeah,
Because you can never ever imagine yourself having a heart attack. Now, I've always said, um, yeah, but it could be worse. I don't smoke and I don't drink that much.
same here, yeah,
And I tried to use that as a reason for never wanting to lose weight because I don't smoke or drink that much.
yeah,
It would be a whole lot worse if I did. So I'm all right. The reality is that it doesn't, smoking and drinking may increase your chances of having a heart attack or diabetes and all them other things. But the reality is that with the amount of weight you're carrying around, you're putting a massive strain on your internal organs.
big
On
time.
your heart, your liver, your lungs, absolutely everything. So you've increased your chances straight away. Now, if someone said to me, and I think this would have been really powerful, and I would have liked to have known this in a morbidly kind of way. If someone had said to me 8 weeks ago, "Okay, Ian, your life expectancy at the start of Slimming World is 58 years. Okay, I'm 47 now, 48 this year. And if someone was able to say to me today, okay, as of today, Ian, your life expectancy is now 68 years, right? I've quite possibly, I mean, I don't know, I've not checked into the science of this or anything. No one said it. Adding 10 years to your life in just 8 weeks of just being eating differently, that's powerful shit, right?
Right,
That can make
and that's
people, and I think
yeah,
if people had the ability to be able to say to someone, Nick, you're going to be dead in 10 years' time unless you lose weight, right? That is powerful enough to make people change. And I think one of our other friends, he had that, and he had gastric surgery,
yeah.
and he's added 20, 30, 25, 30 years onto his life, which is amazing. So that's how I'm kind of looking at it now. Every pound that I lose is going to add 6 months, 8 months, or whatever onto my life expectancy. So I'm pretty pleased with that.
Shit, yeah, we've got all morbid all of a sudden, haven't we? This is supposed to,
I know it's yeah.
lighten up people's mood, And hey, for all you listeners out there, we're really sorry. We're really sorry. We put a real,
Yeah, we're really sorry.
but
So
no,
we'll get back.
in all
We'll get back
seriousness,
to doing some jokes in a minute.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But in all seriousness, I mean, that it's really something that I think as you're younger, you think you're going to live forever, don't you? It's as simple as that. And it's not until you get older everything changes. Your taste changes. What you eat, what you like, and what you never liked as a kid, you love now. Like chilies and things like garlic. And I hated them when I was a kid, but I love them now. Everything changes. It's even your mental state changes. As I've got older, I'm so much more emotional. I mean, I can I can watch a first dance and start welling up. I'm a 55-year-old. I can. Especially if there's a story attached to it. If like a
Mm.
bride is dancing with her brother or her mum because she's lost her dad, and I'm having to tell that story or, oh
Mm.
shit, I mean, it's like, a lot of the time I struggle to hold it in. I really do. I still I can't watch hospital programs on TV with kids involved. I really can't. Stuff like that. Animals getting hurt. I can't watch that. I mean,
No,
God.
no, no,
So
Denise can't watch that.
yeah, but my point is, when you're young, all these things you don't see fear, you don't appreciate fear, and you think you're going to live forever. And when you get older and you start piling on the weight, let me tell you now, that's the time you want to be doing. Well, you want to do it when it's as young as possible, because that time will come when it's
Mm.
it's just too late to do anything about it. So And I think that's probably the way that we're both feeling about it. And I want to live. I've got so much I want to do in my life. I think when we were, I was talking to someone not that long ago, and I said, God, if a doctor said to me, "Oh, you've got a couple of days left," I'd say, "No, no, no, I can't. Please don't, because I've got so much.
I've got things to do.
I've got so much I want to do in my life. It's odd. It really is.
I'm washing the van this weekend.
Yeah, I know, but it's yeah, weird, very weird, very weird. Anyway,
Moving on now, we're going to talk about mastication.
Mastication, yes, yes, and you did hear that.
It's a very, it's one of them words you hear and you go, say what? Mastication? What's that? And we touched on it briefly. What, sorry?
I said, did you just say what I said you said? Mastication.
Mastication. Mastication. And it's something that we touched on very briefly a couple of weeks ago when we met up with Jason from Slimming World. He spoke about it. And for those of you who don't know what mastication is, it's not what you think it is, but mastication is actually the art of chewing your food. It's the business of chewing your food to help a digestion. So the science goes as follows. If you don't know how it works, it's really simple. You put food in, you chew it, it goes down into your esophagus. Your esophagus then pushes it down into your stomach. Your stomach then releases enzymes to break down the food, get the nutrients out of it. From there, it goes into the lower intestine where more enzymes come out, and anything that's left over goes into the large intestine and comes out the other end. That is how your food goes from here to the other end. And mastication is the very first process of getting your food from here to here. And it's a lot more important than you actually think it is. So, do you masticate, Nick?
I'm very conscious of it, actually, and it was probably 2 or 3 years ago that this whole subject came up. I never knew it was called mastication. That's not a word I would have normally used in my everyday vocabulary, but for obvious reasons, because I would make a mistake saying it. But yes, I was always told. I mean, I can understand. I think we touched on it a while back as well. If ever we ate as a family or around my grandparents, we would sit at a table and we would eat, and that's obviously all to do with mastication as well. But yes, I never eat standing up, never, unless it's like a crab stick or something, and I just grab it out of the fridge. I never sit down. I never stand up eating. I always sit down. I always take my time. I'm not a fast eater, but I'm not a slow, picky eater. You get them really annoying eaters that take forever to eat a chip. So I'm not a slow eater, but I most definitely take my time, and I try and over chew my food as much as I can, so that obviously, I am eating correctly. My brain is registering that actually, yes, your brain knows you're eating. That all helps as well. So yes, it is something I do. I've always done it. But I know a lot of people that don't. I know a lot of fast eaters. I know a lot of people that just want to get it down their throat and that's it. And they tend to be the ones that 10 minutes later they'll eat a packet of crisps.
The scientists say that to masticate properly and effectively, you should be chewing between 30 to 40 times per mouthful. Yeah. And when they say mouthful, they don't mean a fork, right? Literally with like half a tub of chicken chow mein hanging off it. That's not a mouthful. A mouthful is, what they class as a mouthful is a fork or a spoon loaded with food that isn't like pouring off, right? A mouthful is just enough to put into your mouth, 30 to 40 times, they reckon. So if you actually sat there, and I tried this earlier on with my breakfast, I sat there and I masticated whilst eating my breakfast.
Really?
It was very odd. And I literally, I literally chewed my scrambled egg 37 times to the point where it could not be chewed any further. It was very weird. And what I didn't like about it was sitting there, 1, 2, 3, I mean, it's just not possible. You know, some foods you just can't chew like that. Soup, obviously, impossible. Maybe a steak, maybe not so bad. But it's really important that you do chew your food, because there are so many good reasons as to why you should do that, and it's all to do with aiding digestion. Because if you don't chew your food properly, as it starts making its way down, you're kind of rushing food through the system. Your body's having to work harder to get nutrients out of it. You end up with things like feeling bloated. You end up feeling like acid. You get acid reflux.
Yeah.
You get cramps, nausea, and at the end of it, gas as well. Gas is a result of not chewing your food or eating properly. So there are so many reasons as to why you should do it.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. I've always been a farter.
Yeah, me too.
Always.
Me
And I'm
too.
on
But
this.
I mean, the other side of it is all. I was just going to say the other side of it is something that you picked up on is when you eat slower, i.e., because you're chewing more and masticating, it allows your brain to accurately remember what food you're putting into your body. Now, I use an app, NutriCheck. I use that a lot to log everything that I put into my body because I've got a rubbish brain. But you eat slower, it allows your body to kind of experience the food a bit more. And it all sounds very kind of la-di-da, very, you know, you're looking at it through rose-tinted glasses, but you do experience the flavors, the textures, the
Yeah.
smell of the food, and it becomes a bit more interesting. You
Yeah.
know, you taste it a lot more, which I think is the point, other than just literally pouring it into your mouth.
Yeah.
There's, you know, although it's nice to do that, and it does. Oh, I need to eat as fast as I can. If I don't eat, get it in there. And there's, you know, I don't like eating fast because you just end up with indigestion,
Do you remember
and when you get indigestion, that's not good.
No. And when we spoke about toast a few episodes back, you know, the fact that you could just carry on eating toast by the bucket load, basically, because it's something you eat fast. You naturally eat it
Mm.
fast. It's very thin. You know, white bread is pretty much thin, unless you're, you know, cutting it off of one of those salt and pepper bloomers out of Tesco's or whatever. But it's really easy to eat. You know, it's a lot of the time it's very tasty if it's smothered in butter. But the fact that you eat it so quickly, you're not even telling your brain that you're eating. It's probably bypassing the part of your brain that tells you that actually, guys, you're getting full up
You've
now
ate something,
because it's
yeah,
you're eating it that quick. It's bypassing that. You know,
yeah.
so it's just a
No,
waste
you're
of time.
exactly right.
And on the flip side of that as well, you know, we talk about mastication and chewing your food properly, and that how important that is, you know, on a weight loss journey. The other thing that's just as important is sleep. I don't think people appreciate how much sleep is important. It's important for young people. It helps develop the body and the internal organs and the regeneration of cells and things like that. And it's the same with adults. You know, if you there was a book by Michael Mosley, I think, called The 800 Fast or something like that. But basically, he says in there that if your last meal of the day is at 7 o'clock in the evening, then you fast for 12 hours. So then you can't eat anything until 7 in the morning. And if you do that every single day, that will aid your weight loss as well. It's an interesting theory and it works. It really does work.
Mm.
So and to actually do that, I'm not sure I could go that. Well, it's very rarely you're going to get up at 4 in the morning and start eating a bowl of cereal or something, unless obviously your job means that that's what you've got to do. That sleep pattern, think to yourself, if your last meal is at 6 o'clock in the evening, don't be going to have, cheese and biscuits at 9. And if you do have cheese and biscuits at 9, don't eat until 9 o'clock in the morning. Give yourself 12 hours every time fasting,
Mm.
every single day, and it will help. And if you're not sure, if you want me to post a link for that book, and it's an audio book, so I just put it on in the car and I listen to it. It's really interesting concept, and it's by someone that does know what he's talking about as well. So it's
I
good.
did whilst I was looking up this mastication thing, I did actually find some interesting facts out. First one you probably know more about. Drink water at least 30 minutes before you eat a meal because it helps increase the efficiency of digestion.
And,
How many times have
can
you
I
been
just
to?
can
Go
I
on.
just say the other important thing, if you're going to be drinking water before you eat, is that you're already starting to fill your stomach cavity, so you will probably find you'll eat less. So that's another great way
Yeah,
of aiding weight.
absolutely.
So yeah,
Now, how many times have you been to a restaurant, and the waiter comes up to you or the waitress comes up to you at the end of the night and goes, "Coffee," and you go, "Oh yeah, go on." It's actually bad for you to drink coffee after dinner, purely because the caffeine speeds up indigestion, right? And you just end up in the bathroom.
I never knew that.
It's not good. You'll end up with heartburn, and because of the acidity of the food being pushed through your system as quickly as possible. Yeah, the caffeine accelerates the business of getting the food from here into the large intestine, and it goes through. It just makes you feel bloated. And why would you want to? I'm
Yeah.
guilty of it. I've done that. I've done that loads of times. I've done that loads of times. It's always best to drink coffee before you eat food. Well, that's what I've been reading. But yeah, to drink coffee straight after, and I've done that countless times at an Indian restaurant or whatever. Yeah, coffee. Oh yeah, go on. I'll have one of them.
Blimey.
The other good one is on your way out the Chinese or the Indian, little bowl of mint imperials by the till. Oh yeah, I'll grab a handful of them. Really bad for you, right? Fruit as well. Anything sugary after a meal is bad. So that's even like desserts. So you get like your cheesecake, yeah, nice bit of cake, a little nice, something nice and sugary, ice cream. Don't touch it purely because that also increases. Sugary foods are digested quickly, right? And what happens to foods that are digested quickly? Gas.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why you get gas.
Right.
Um,
So would
so
you
you've
say?
ate all this food.
Yeah.
Go on.
I'm just thinking then.
I
So
was
in
just going
that
to say you've ate all the. Go, you go. I'll
Yeah.
shut up.
So if you're out for a meal with your other half and you're sitting there and the waiter says, "Can I get you any desserts?" The answer really should be no, but you could get me a pasty.
I don't think that's how it works.
Oh, I got you. Go on, carry on.
No, I don't. I don't think that's how it works. So you've ate all this food, and now you feel guilty that you've ate all this food, and you just think, "I'm going to go for a run." Because a run will be good, gets the heart pumping, it'll get the food out of my system quicker. Brilliant. No.
No.
Do not exercise after dinner. Digestion requires energy, right? And if you're using all of your energy to go for a run, right, then your body is just left with loads of undigested food, which then gets acid reflux, heartburn, indigestion, the list goes on and on and on. However, you can go for a walk. A walk is the best way to work off anything that you've just eaten. This speeds up the rate at which food moves through your stomach without causing indigestion. So it's a good way of helping your body digest the food without ruining everything. And you won't wake up at 3 a.m. going, I need to drink water, like that. So that's just a few of the things I picked up just by looking around. So the takeaways from that: drink water before you eat. Don't drink coffee after you've eaten. Don't eat cake or sweets or fruit, anything sugary after you've eaten, because that's bad. And don't go for a run after you've eaten either, because
Well,
that's bad for you as well. So
that's interesting. Yeah. And the other thing is,
never let it be said that this podcast is not educational.
yeah, true. Tell you the other thing as well, which is which a lot of people don't do. My Doris never used to do it until I said something to her, and that was when you finished eating, you need to just sit there for probably 15, 20 minutes. Just sit there, don't do anything. Just let your food go down properly. Because again, otherwise you're bypassing all of that, the proper digestion. So you need to do that as well. So very educational. This is a good.
Right. You know, it's like when you watch episodes of Top Gear and they talk about everything but cars.
Yeah, I know.
They are a car show, and this is a podcast about two guys trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
So I thought I would just make it a bit more for the grey matter. You know, make it a bit more interesting.
Good.
Right, time's moving on. We've got an interview. We met up with a guy. Well, we didn't meet up with him. We've known him for years. He's a great guy. He's called Alan Marshall, and we recorded this interview last week. So I can't remember what I was wearing. You definitely weren't wearing that.
No.
And you had an orange muffler on your microphone. So if you're wondering what's going on, why do we look different, then that's the reason. Also, I want to apologise because Nick wasn't really quite in the centre of his screen, so you only see half his face. Really sorry about that. But Nick won't see that until we've finished this video. But enjoy the interview with Alan Marshall, who's coming that way or that way or one of these ways.
Yeah.
So you may have noticed that there's a little face staring at us, maybe down there or over there or wherever somewhere. And this is a good friend of ours called Alan Marshall, who back in, I think, March 2019 thought he would help support his mate Bill Herman by walking every day. And 1,117 days later, he's finally here. So hello, Alan Marshall.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. You good?
Yeah, I'm exceptional, my friend. I'm fit. I'm loving life at the moment.
Excellent.
Just before we go any further, have you walked this morning?
I have walked this morning. I've done my 5 miles this morning. I even got into a trot, almost a jog.
So calm down. Calm down. We're talking about Active 10, not Couch to 5K, Alan, please. So for those of you who don't know, the Active 10 thing is it's part of the NHS Better Health Programme. And what it does is it's designed to try and get people up and about, walking for just 10 minutes a day. That's how it kind of starts, just to kind of make you feel better and healthier and more focused with your mind, change your mood, and obviously reduce the possibility of diabetes and all that kind of stuff. Not heart failure. Stroke and heart disease, not heart failure. You don't want heart failure. Heart failure is bad. You don't want that when you're walking around. But like I said, Alan started doing this in March 2019 to support his mate Bill Herman. So what inspired, other than Bill, why did you think, I'm going to do this as well?
Okay, so we have to go back a little bit further in time for that. So back in September of 2018, it was a Sunday morning. I woke after doing a full day wedding, because as a wedding DJ, I'd been there for about 15, 16 hours. And at the end of the event, I came to pack the gear away, and I got down onto my knees to start pulling up the cables and discovered that I couldn't get back up. And with a room full of guests, I had to crawl across the floor in front of the guests to find a chair to pull myself up onto. I'd had back problems before, and just a slight backstory to that, I suffer from a thing called hereditary spastic paraplegia, which is a progressive neurological condition that affects the spine and the legs. So the following morning, after having a bath, I looked in the mirror and I discovered this guy called Fat Al for the first time. And I didn't like the look of this guy that was looking out of the mirror at me. So it was that day that I kind of made a decision that enough was enough. I needed to do something. And that started off, as you rightly say, with the Active 10. I went out and attempted my first day of doing 10 minutes. Now, taking into account that I was struggling to even walk, 10 minutes seemed really daunting and something that was impossible. I wasn't 10 minutes. I was never going to be able to walk for 10 minutes. What if I got somewhere and I couldn't get back? And then I figured out in my head, well, I'd only ever be 5 minutes away, because if I've got to get back, that's the 10 minutes. So I went and did it. And with Active 10, you can sign up and get this free app that kind of clocks the fact that you've done your 10 minutes. And I got back to the house and I'd only done 9 minutes. So I'd failed on my first attempt and had a cup of tea, and then decided to go back out again and do 10 minutes. And I did that for until March of the following year, when I attended the Pro Mobile. I was about to attempt the Pro Mobile conference. A couple of weeks prior, I'd been to the conference in Vegas, and Bill Herman had seen me and seen. At that point, I'd already lost about 3.5 stone since the September from just going out and walking each day. Wrapping myself up into as much clothes as I could because it was winter, but that was helping with losing the weight as well. And then Bill declared on Facebook Live, he thought it was a Facebook Messenger, basically going, no, if Alan Marshall can do it, well, it can't be that hard. I can do it for 365 days. But what he was doing was declaring to the world on Facebook Live the fact that he was going to do this thing for 365 days. Now, when I started, nobody knew. So if I gave up halfway, no one knew I'd failed apart from me. But Bill was declaring he was going to do it. So that was kind of the motivation for me doing the Facebook Lives. As you say, today was 1,117 of Facebook Lives and days in a row without a gap, that I've done 5 miles every single day.
But you'd already done it for many months before then anyway. I watched your very first video this morning. And when you compare that video to your most recent one, the two are worlds apart. You've gone from walking around the streets of Andover to finding some really, really nice places to walk around. The other thing you notice is how out of breath you're not so much. And also how much the camera doesn't wobble about so much either. So in that time, you must have noticed like changes in the way that you can breathe and other changes.
Oh, 100%. I think that the thing is, when you start this journey, you believe that you can get so far, but you don't. You've no kind of feeling of what that's going to look like when you kind of get to the other side, as it were. Each win, each day that you do that walk, it kind of adds to this collective feeling, the fact that you're achieving something. And certainly that first one, yes, I have seen that recently. When I got to the 3 years, I kind of went back and looked at that. And for backstory on that was, I saw this video first thing in the morning of Bill declaring he was going to do this walk. That's Bill Herman, my friend from Minnesota. And I was ready to go to the Pro Mobile conference. I didn't know how to work Facebook Live. I'd never done a Facebook Live. I didn't even know how you switched it on, let alone did it. And as you say, I was, even though I'd done all that walking, I was still relatively out of breath, because this isn't a thing that happens overnight. So this is a way of life. This is my future. This is not a thing that I'm attempting to achieve. This is something that I now do.
It's. Have you noticed any changes, like physically? I noticed that you mentioned about you have problems from a physical point of view. Have you found that the walking has changed that over the past few years?
Oh, 100%. So dive slightly down into that. So I used to suffer from bad backs a lot because of my condition and because of my weight. I don't, touch wood, suffer from that much. Wood.
Careful, we're not going down that dirty corridor.
Yeah. I also used to suffer from IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which I have eradicated as well. I mean, that doesn't. I don't have a problem with that. I think that for me, the weighing each day or each week, I set myself a target, and I kind of mirrored similar to what you guys are doing with the Weight Watchers thing. Though I wasn't going to Weight Watchers, I decided that once a week I would weigh myself, and I would celebrate regardless of whether I had put weight on or lost weight. There was no going to be a bad feeling regarding whichever way that went. But it really changed for me when I started to drop sizes. And I started something that I didn't realize from the very beginning, and it's hard to imagine, is when you hit those kind of targets of sizes and you start having to buy new clothes or new suits, and you start looking at yourself in the mirror and you start to like yourself again. Now, I know that sounds bad, but I didn't like the person that I was looking at in the mirror. I didn't like that guy at all. That guy, I'd given a pass because of my physical condition. A condition, this heretic spastic paraplegia, that 30 years ago I'd sat down in a doctor's surgery and the doctor had said within 5 years I will probably be in a wheelchair.
Wow.
And I did kind of ignored that, but carried on, but took on some of the baggage from that. Well, when I started losing the weight and I started looking at myself in the mirror, I started to like myself again.
It's interesting you say that about liking yourself. I mean, I can totally relate to that because with that comes self-confidence. I've always been an outgoing person, as you know, and I'm sort of, I'll be the one that will crack the jokes and all that. But deep down, what people don't realise is that being heavily overweight, it makes you feel uncomfortable in body and mind. It really does. And you're very conscious of it. With the pair of us have spoken about when we're performing at a wedding, for instance, you will always get two people that will say something to each other that think that you can't see them, and then one will look away and one will laugh, and consciously you're thinking they're talking about me. Because that's what being big makes you feel a lot of the time for a lot of people. And it did for me. I'm just very good at hiding it. But deep down, things like that really, really affected me. And they have done all my life. It's just that you get to a point in life where you realise that you can brush it off, or you can appear to brush it off. But actually, those feelings are still there. You're very conscious of it. So even losing weight and losing inches, like you've just said, what it does to your self-confidence. I mean, I'll tell you now. I woke up this morning, I got in the shower, and my Doris was sitting on the sofa. I walked in the lounge and I said, I feel really good today. She said, what? I said, I feel really good today. She said, why? I said, well, I've got a pair of jeans that I haven't worn since I went to the States like 3 years ago that fit. I've got a T-shirt that fits nicely. I just feel good. And again, it's hard for some people to probably relate to that unless you've been in that position. So I totally get what you're talking about, Alan, and what that does to you, because then all of a sudden your whole outlook on life changes. And it 100%. Does.
My baggy T-shirts and suits were my friend, because baggy T-shirts and suits hid the thing that I was embarrassed about. Yeah. I was embarrassed about my weight. I was embarrassed. Probably, I don't necessarily think I saw other people looking at me and thinking I was big. They probably did, but I didn't like me. I didn't like the way I looked. I was kind of okay with it to a degree, because I was doing stuff. I'd met you guys by that time when I was, as I described, Fat Al. And I was confident about the stuff I was doing, and I was learning new stuff and excited about that. But my inner self esteem was quite low. I was very self-conscious and reasonably fragile. I think as what I discovered along the way was that I started to like myself again. I started to be okay with who I was. As my appearance and my weight started to go, the mental shift in not only losing the weight, but also the fact that I was achieving something that I thought was impossible, and now it was possible because I was actually doing it. That was the shift, and that certainly that made the world a difference. That for me was almost like a tsunami. That I didn't see that one coming. I thought it was just going to be a weight thing, but the mental well-being, for I suppose the way of putting it, of achieving those goals and then losing that weight, hit me like a brick wall. It really did.
What were you at your heaviest? What weight?
At my heaviest, when that morning at Fat Al, when I stepped onto the scales, and frankly, I didn't want to step onto the scales, I was 18.4 at that point. And for me, 18.4, and I had about 3 chins. I look at pictures from me back then as a DJ in my tux, etc. And I posted a few of those over the time, really just to inspire others that, look, that's what I look like. This is what I look like now. Not to pat myself on the back, but to say, look, this is achievable.
It's a funny thing, weight, because you say Fat Al 18.4 like you're horrified.
I know
right?
what you were going to say, yeah.
But I was 18 when I weighed 18.4, right? I dream of weighing 18.4, and I would probably stop at 18.4. So if I looked then if I looked like you did at 18.4, I'd be over the moon with that, if I'm honest with you. But this is the funny thing about weight. It's not about how you look. It's all about what's kind of in here as well. I've lost 2 stone in the since starting Slimming World
Well
back
done.
at the end of February. Thank you. And I already feel a million times better. I'm already in a happy place, to the point where clothes that I was able to fit into last year, I can now fit into again. So I've already had to break through one mental barrier in order to push me to do more, because I'm quite happy at the minute, but I know I need to do more. I want to do more. I've been sent, some very kind soul has sent me some pictures of Fat Ian. Now, you think you look fat at 18.4. Fat Ian is Fat Ian. He really is. So yeah, I'm gonna print those out and I'm gonna put them on my wall just as a reminder of how much I just don't want to go back there. But yeah, the point is 18.4. I dream of being 18.4. But so, how much weight have you lost now then, Alan? You must be quite a lot thinner now.
Right. So I lost at my peak. I lost 70 pounds. So 5 stone. I've kind of put a bit back on, certainly with Vegas and the last week. So I'm kind of hovering around the 4.5 to 4.75 stone weight loss. I attended one of the important things, and why the accountability, as it were, which I think is really important. It's having those accountability partners, which of course you've now got. Everybody that watches this podcast, as well as the 2 of you, is first of all, it keeps you true, I suppose. It keeps you on target. Ultimately, we own that responsibility, because if I decided to put weight on, everyone would still go, "Oh, we love you, Alan. You're looking okay," and etc. They'd still say the nice things, because people don't want to be mean. So, but it's keeping yourself true. And one of the things I discovered, a couple of things that helped me along the way, was one, diet. That certainly helped, and that was a book by author called Dr. Philip Maffetone, which is called The Overfat Pandemic, which it talks about fat in not the way that we would call fat, because we say fat and we think that's our self-image. Either we're fat or whatever, our outer casing, as it were. But it's more important the fat that's going on inside your body and what that's constituted of. That certainly changed a few things. And the accountability was the fact that when you hit your target weight, there's a study that suggests the fact that you need to then keep that target weight for a calendar year, because then it becomes your base weight, as it were. It becomes your to go back to, because if you don't, you'll do something that my sister's struggled with weight for years. She does a thing called a yo-yo diet. So she'll take weight off and then she'll put it back on again and then take weight off. And that's how that happens. But if you can maintain it, and that's what the walks with Bill and my the 365, and now it's we're heading for 4 years, which will be 1,141 days or 61 days, is it keeps me on target, because I've decided in my mind that I'm responsible for not only myself, but those that are watching what I do, etc., which again is just a value I've placed on it.
The accountability is key, without a doubt. Without
Yeah.
a doubt, the accountability is a major part of this, without a doubt.
I think when we started doing what we're doing now, I think that was the one thing we both said, that we need to be accountable. So we need to not lie. We need to just be totally truthful about everything we do. And there was a reluctance, obviously, to share what we both weighed, I think, when we started. But I think, as we both agreed, the thing is, that's going to be our heaviest. We're not going to be any heavier than that. So it can only be good news from there. So why not just, share with the world, and then everything else is a success. It's interesting what you're saying about that's just really a way of life for you now, isn't it? Walking, you'll always do it. And again, we've talked about that, this thing about doing something for 30 days and it becomes a habit, no matter what it is. And that's so important. I've just bought another push bike for that reason, so I can get out every single day on a bike, because that's what I want to do now. I genuinely want to do that. I've also spoken about the fact that I want to jog, but I wouldn't jog at the moment because it just wouldn't be fair on the road surfaces and my joints. So my plan is I want to jog. I want to be able to just, at 7 o'clock at night, I want to be able to slip on a pair of, trainers and a pair of jogging bottoms and just say, right, I'm just gonna go out and, just jog for an hour.
Nick, I've just had a thought. Why not at Cedar Buzz next Wednesday, we jog around the car park?
I've got another thought. Why don't
we film it?
Why don't we not? I don't mind walking around with Alan, but jogging, no, it's not fair.
Do that.
It's not fair.
That's going to be several thousand laps of the car park where Cedar Buzz is next week.
True. Yeah.
So another author that I took on board that may help is an American author called Brené Brown, and Brené Brown talks about imperfection, and it's the shame paradox, and it's where we in our heads don't think we're good enough, and that's one of the things that that image of Fat Al, etc. It's realizing the fact that we're all imperfect, and that actually the person you are right now today is already perfect. Okay, you're perfect today. Now tomorrow that may look different. You may lose a few pounds, etc. But it's getting past that mental challenge of the fact that the way we view ourselves as imperfect, or that shame paradox of being broken, or not as we perceive to be, can hold us back, because what we do is we go to our safe, happy place and just go, well, okay, I just don't want to talk about it or don't want to do anything. So that's why what you guys are doing right now is so incredible, because you've had your kind of Fat Al moment. You've had your moment where you went, you know what, now I've got to do something.
Yeah.
For years we kind of put it off because we don't want to face this thing, because facing it is painful and we don't want to look at that, etc. So we decide to just push it away and go, yes, a thing I'm going to do another day. It's a thing that I'll lose a few pounds one day when I care. Or even worse, we tell all our friends and we kid ourselves that we're okay with the way we are, when deep down we're not. So it's understanding that the person like, for example, Karen Carpenter and anorexia, etc. Everybody has a different view of what their self-image is. We need to stop berating ourselves, and we need to celebrate every day for two reasons. One, for every little win, and secondly, because we're still here.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So where's the best place you've walked?
Oh, the best place. Well, I think. Well, I've walked some cool places. Obviously, I've done Vegas a few times with my friend Bill, etc., and done that. But I think the most notable that put the biggest smile on my face was when I got to my 1000th day, and I was at Stonehenge, and I was doing the walk at Stonehenge, and I'm walking around, and I thought some idiots behind me trying to photobomb me. I thought, hang about, I've just gone live, and there's this idiot behind me that's trying to kind of dance around and be in the way of the camera. And then I looked around and saw it was our friend Tony Wynyard, who had driven all the way to Stonehenge to join me on my 1,000th walk, which was incredible. The fact that I'd hit 1,000, I thought I needed to do it somewhere special, but the fact that I had a friend that had driven quite a distance to just turn up to surprise me was kind of special. For me, all of this and all I've achieved so far is just part of the journey. The biggest part for me is the community that is created through the walks, through the chats, etc. Through, way back in March of 2019, that article, "Are you fit enough to DJ?" etc. And the feedback I got from that, which was written for Pro Mobile, that journey and the friends that I've been able to make on the way that have reached out to me publicly or privately to say, actually, this is pretty awesome because now I've started walking, or I've lost a few pounds, etc. As I'm sure you guys are getting right now, is an incredible uplift. It makes you feel relevant. It makes you feel that you have a purpose.
Yeah, very much. Again, we've spoken about this, but I think we all want to be loved, despite what people say. When people say, "Oh, I don't care what they think," we all want to be loved. We all want to help people, really, deep down. And doing something like you've done has obviously helped. And even now, when we're getting messages coming through from people, that probably don't want to appear in public and say things, but they reach out and they'll send a message. And I could probably pick a handful of people that have said, I've actually braved joining a slimming club. I've walked over the threshold of the slimming club, and I've joined the club, and I'm loving it, and I'm enjoying it, and it's changed the way I feel and the way I look, and I feel great about it. And like I say, a lot of people don't actually want that. They don't want everyone to know that that's what they're doing, and I get that. But for them to actually, to message you and take the time and appreciate what you're doing and how it's helped is great. It really, it does make you feel good as well. And, the fact that we're improving our lives as well as other people's lives, and, that's even better.
Gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling inside, doesn't it?
It gives you support to keep going. Those that are reaching out to you right now, that have reached out to me in the past and still do, that say, okay, you're affecting my life, or you're changing my life because I've done this thing, don't realize that that's a two-way street. Actually, they're moving you forward, that inertia, because that makes you feel good. I mean, that's a reward. And to feel that you make a difference, that's the best reward in the world.
Absolutely. So Alan, you've been walking for 1,117 days as of recording this video today. You must have seen some really questionable stuff whilst out on your walks. Have you seen anything dodgy maybe in all that time?
Dodgy? No, I haven't seen anything dodgy. I've got a funny story. When I first started doing the walks, similar to in those first few months, I was out walking and I was feeling quite good about myself. And I'm walking along in the centre of Andover, and I'm just striding along, and I'm thinking, yeah, I'm Jack the lad. I've got this nailed down. And this little old lady that must have been probably about 80 years old walked past me like I was standing still. I went, okay, reality check. But it was what I had to do, what I took on board was the fact that, that doesn't matter, because it only matters where I am. It really doesn't matter what others think or what they're achieving. I just need to be a better version of myself tomorrow as I was today, and if I keep going. But I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. I've nearly been run over twice from being clipped. I was clipped by a van that clearly had a bit of road rage, because I was just walking along the side of the road, etc., and clipped me with his wing mirror, etc. So it can get a little bit scary out there, but I've readjusted my walks to avoid some of these hot spots, as it were. But yeah, no. What I found, and certainly through the COVID years, was when we couldn't do something, I could actually get out and walk, and I was finding there was this community of people that were already out there doing this walking thing. Now, I have to mention the fact that before I started doing this walking, I used to look at walkers as crazy people. That why would they do that? Because I've got a car. Why would you walk? So and then I suddenly discovered I was actually part of this community, and I don't know how I don't remember joining. I didn't sign up for anything, but now I was one of them.
Would you say that was similar to the amount of us DJs that were live streaming throughout lockdown? And sort of reaching out to people, and then people were reaching back. Would you say that was similar to that? It was your version of live streaming in terms of, but not playing music. You were still reaching
100%.
out and you were still connected with everyone.
Yeah, because there's that mental well-being.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So there's mental well-being of the fact that when I saw DJs out there doing the streaming, which was not something I necessarily was going to do, but I could appreciate what everybody was doing, because regardless of how good it was or how bad it was, and there was degrees of both, that I took on, I understood that the person that was doing it was feeling good about doing it, and that was really important. It wasn't important necessarily the quality or they were of a certain standard, whatever. It didn't matter if it was making their day, and if there was someone that was watching the other side of it was having their day raised by it. That was kind of important. The same as when we were told right on the 22nd of March 2020 that we were not allowed to DJ, it was illegal, and we were banned from doing parties. It would have been very easy just to gone and sit in my room and kind of grumped and gone, it's not fair. But what I did was I decided, well, I'm still walking, I'm going out and doing this thing, and each day there's a list of things I can't do, but I'm going to see if I can match that list, if not better that list, with all the things I can do. And that started with doing that walk every morning. I knew that at the end of my walk, I'd go back, I'd have a shower, I'd have some breakfast, but I'd already achieved something that I could have easily not done, but I did it anyway.
Because you normally go out walking very early in the morning. Have you seen anyone fly tipping whilst you've been out?
No. I haven't seen them fly tipping, but when I go out with my walk in the morning, I normally take some bin liners in my van, etc. And I have been on occasion. I'll turn up where someone has, and I'll clear the rubbish up because I like walking in the countryside, and I like the way the countryside looks, and I kind of get peed off when I see that someone's abused it. So I'm after my walk, I can spend probably 10 minutes or so going back and picking people's rubbish up.
Terrible. Yeah.
I think Nick, have you got any other questions?
No, the only thing I was going to say was just going back to when you started and you were doing it through lockdown. I see so many similarities with the job that we do. I really do. Every time I hear it, because again, the whole live streaming, the walking thing. I think when you finish that, it's a bit like if we're doing a wedding or a party on a Saturday night and we get to midnight and we're packing up, and invariably someone will come up and say, "Oh, what a great night! Thank you so much. I loved it. I love the music. It was really good." So we all crave that sort of adulation anyway, and we do, and we thrive on that, especially doing the job that we do. So again, when you think about live streaming, when you think about your walking, for someone to say to you at the end of your walk or during your walk on a live stream, "Alan, I'm loving what you're doing. I tune in every day." Straight away, that you want to carry on doing it, and there is your adulation. You're not playing music, but you're getting your adulation. You're almost getting your fix, and that again for your mental well-being is so important. doing the job that we do. You know, we love doing what we do. We play music. We want people to enjoy it, and when people say they enjoy it, you know, that is just it. It's heaven, and so I totally agree with that.
Yeah, we've picked a profession that makes us very vulnerable, and we stand on a stage and we ask our audience to love us.
Yeah,
And when that stage is taken away from us, over COVID, I saw so many of my friends, people I care deeply about, because I really do care deeply about my DJ friends, were dealing with it in so many different ways and had so many different challenges that I was fortunate not to have. I was very fortunate the fact that I was okay financially. I was frustrated by the fact that I couldn't do the job that I wanted to do, but I focused on, well, okay, I've got time on my hands. Let's see how far I can take this health thing, how far I can take the. So I suddenly freed up. Rather than planning weddings for the weekend, I could take time to read a book on diet or on health, etc., or take on board the thing called the Dr. Philip Maffetone carbohydrate intolerance test, which was 14 days where I had no carbs, and I lost a stone in a week, in 14 days, in 2 weeks, in 14 days, purely just doing this. But what I discovered at the end of that test, that I could tell the things that if I ate those, they were going to have a physical effect on my not only my body by putting weight on or making me bloated, etc., but also on my mood. So what you eat can affect that as well. But because of that time I had time to investigate a little bit further down that rabbit hole, as it were. But
yeah. Be interesting if you could share that link. Actually, I like the idea of owning it.
I will do.
We're going to call it a day, Alan. But first, I just want to say thank you for taking time out to come and do this with us today. We've rambled on a bit longer than we wanted to, but it's actually been really interesting listening to your story. And also everything else, including the books and so on. What we'll do is we'll link to everything that you've spoke about at the bottom of the video, so like the books and stuff like that. If you want to stalk Alan online, go and check him out on Facebook. It's Alan Marshall, where you can watch his daily walking videos as well as 1,117 others. And
dear Lord, protect us.
I watched every single one of them, and there was I went to bed this morning at 9 a.m. And if you want to find out more about Active 10 walks, then just Google NHS Active 10. There is a free app that you can download. Get that on your phone, and just get out 10 minutes a day. It's 10 minutes is not a lot. If you actually set a timer for 10 minutes, it's not a long time. So just to do that 10 minutes every day, and you don't have to do it for every day like Alan does. But why not? 10 minutes. What else would you be doing? Watching EastEnders? I know where I'd rather be.
Yeah. And before we finish, obviously, Alan, I just want to say thank you as well. Thanks for inspiring so many people, and I think for helping a lot of people out as well. So well done you, sir.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. And my final piece is celebrate every win. Celebrate every day.
Good work.
And on that note, thank you very much, Alan Marshall.
Thank you, Alan.
I think we probably said it at the end of that video, but because we recorded it last week, I can't remember.
No.
Thank you to Alan Marshall.
Yes,
very, very insightful interview.
Yeah, it was great. It's interesting to hear someone else's story as well. And enjoyed that. It was good. It's good.
So on the Too Fat DJs Facebook group, I asked people to leave questions for us to answer. Now, these don't have to be questions about dieting, weight loss, eating healthy, or anything like that. It could be literally a question about anything at all, like what colour pants is Nick wearing, anything like that. And we got one question, which is nice. Thank you very much. Yeah. And that's from Terry Brandon.
Yeah.
Terry Brandon asks, what is our favourite part of a barbecue? And And other than the eating, Nick, what is your favourite part of a barbecue?
Well, you've just scuppered me somewhat because I was going to say without doubt the eating. No, I think if you want a sensible answer, I would say socialising with friends and family is always nice. But the truth of it is, I could probably just continue to eat burgers and sausages until they came out the other end. I love burgers and sausages. I love barbecue food. I love sitting outside. I'm not a drinker, so I get that people like to have a drink and everything, but at a barbecue. But I do actually like the socialising, and I also like the bits and pieces that aren't burgers and sausages, like the kebabs, like the coleslaw, stuff like that. That's what I like. But the socialising,
Yeah.
I just think it's nice to get people together and just socialise and put the worlds to right. What about you, Ian?
Belly pork.
Shit, I didn't think about belly pork.
Tesco's do, they have this range called the Fire Pit, which comes out around about now, right? And in there they have Chinese pork steak, salt and chili, drumsticks, burgers, minted lamb koftas, all that kind of thing. But they also do the salt and chili pepper belly pork slices. And I posted a picture of them, I think in the Too Fat DJs group the other day. And yeah, on a barbecue, especially when the fat goes all crispy, and you bite into it and it's just like oozing down your jowls, and it's just like, But yeah, burgers. I think this year, we've had quite a nice weekend of weather this weekend. We've not got our barbecue. We need to give it a good clean out, as you do. But I think this time around we're going to be probably going for the burgers. I think burgers are all right, and maybe some chicken thighs in some kind of marinade or something. I don't know. You just got to try and be as healthy as possible. Yeah, burgers and sausages. I get the sausages.
Yeah, nice.
But for me, it's the belly pork. The belly pork wins every time.
Yeah. What about? I love the look of corn on the cob with butter just dripping off of it. But I hate it. But I love the look of it.
Tell you what I hate at the minute. On my TikTok. My TikTok is just full of, how TikTok works, right? TikTok basically analyzes what you watch and what you stare at longest. So like if you watch one video about barbecue food for 3 seconds longer than a video about Slimming World, then it will give you more videos of barbecued food. That's how it kind of works.
Yeah.
So my TikTok feed is basically just videos of people eating barbecue food. And at the minute, there's a lot of American guys on there who have these like smokers in their backyards.
Yeah.
So they literally put like a big like prime rib or something in the smoker with some kind of something on it, this marinade, and then of course they cut it. But the other thing I've kind of noticed now is that a lot of these videos, they've got really interesting sound. They've amplified the sound somewhat so that you hear the knife cutting through the meat, and then you see the juices come out. So you hear it and see it, and then that just makes you. I just want to masticate when I watch that.
Yeah, that is a good reason to masticate. It is. It's an audio visual treat. That's what that is, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. It's just not a treat in my mouth, which is a bit of a shame.
I can't get on with
these days. I go for this.
Yes. Oh, that was the other thing we were going to say. Yeah. Tell them about your bulgur wheat, Ian.
Well, we with our HelloFresh, I've got something to announce about HelloFresh as well in a minute.
Yeah.
We got our HelloFresh, and one of the meals was a lamb kind of Moroccan lamb, or Lebanese lamb with bulgur wheat and prunes and to be honest, it was kind of like the rubbish dog in the Battersea Dog Zone, like the last one, and you just feel sorry for it, and you just think, Oh, yeah, go on. We'll have that. We'll give that one a try, see what it's like. And it was the one we weren't looking forward to the most, but it was by far the tastiest dish we had in out of all of our deliveries that week. And even to the point where I thought, I'm going to buy some of that bulgur. I love it.
Yeah.
And here it is. I bought some, and it wasn't expensive. I think it was 65p or something like this. And Denise said it's the easiest thing that she's ever cooked. And all you do is you just add water to it and maybe some spices, and it's a great alternative to rice or a jacket potato, or it works really well in a salad. High in protein, practically nothing in the fat department. It is in this whole bag, according... how big is this bag? This is a... Oh, right, 500 gram bag. So there's literally... there is not even 4 grams of fat in that entire bag.
Yeah.
And this we will get maybe 3 or 4 meals out of, because they're like, I don't know if you can see it, they're like tiny little crystals almost, but they expand, they get quite big, and they make you feel really full as well. We were really surprised. So if you don't do anything this week, try this, because it is actually quite good. And this is the good thing that I say this every week about HelloFresh. It's a good thing I like about it, because we're getting introduced. We're cooking food that we'd never ever cooked before,
definitely.
and we're being introduced to things that we've never ever tried.
Yeah.
And we weren't looking forward to it, but we ate it, and we really enjoyed it. So I was quite pleased, really. And with HelloFresh, we are now official HelloFresh affiliate marketing people. What this means is I have no idea, but we only got accepted this week, so I'm going to find out more information about that. I signed up for it, not really having a clue how we could leverage it and use it, but we've been accepted, and so we'll have news on that over the next week as to how we can make some use of it, and if we can give something to our many watchers and listeners, then we will do.
Yeah.
We will do.
Well,
I'd like to get some HelloFresh for free, if I'm honest.
Yeah. And if you're listening, HelloFresh, he's only lying. It's not about getting free food at all. He's a liar. It's just about being involved with such a wonderful company.
No, mate, I'm on the take. I want food for free.
Ian might be, but for me, it's not about the food. It's just being associated with a global brand such as HelloFresh, who is just doing amazing things when it comes to cooking. I mean, I love,
My nose is getting a bit long, mate.
So, hopefully we'll have some important information about HelloFresh and what we can possibly give back to you.
Give back to the community, because we're lovers, not haters.
We are givers rather than takers, aren't we, Ian?
That's exactly right.
I'm a giver, not a taker.
Perfect. I like giving.
Yeah, I do. Right, okay, so...
we've rattled on for quite a while now.
I know. This has turned out to be probably the longest episode ever. So...
we'll get this done in half an hour, you said.
Yeah, easy. Yeah. What are we going to do? Goals for next week, then?
Yeah, goals for next week. Why not? You start.
Right, let's keep this short and sweet. I want to do 4.5 pound. Why 4.5 pound, you're probably thinking? Why not 5 or 4?
Why 4.5 pounds?
Because, everyone, if I lose 4.5 pound this week, I will have hit the magical 4 stone weight loss. So that's why I'm aiming. Get you, ducky. I love it. I need meat like that in my life too. So, yeah.
If you don't get 4.5 pound weight loss, you get this one.
Oh, mate, I've got to have some of that. Is that on your podcast, a professional roasting?
That's on my little soundboard.
Oh, can I?
I've got some others. I have no idea what they are. What's this one?
This week on Too Fat DJs. I love that.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, 4.5 pound for me. But enough of me. Over to you, Ian.
Yeah. Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Well, we're recording this. We're recording this on Monday. We're on 18th of April today. We are going to be doing another show towards the end of this week, another podcast. So episode 7 is coming later this week. But so I'm going to aim for. Well, let me just get my book out again because my memory is rubbish. I think it's all the Diet Coke I used to drink. So I'm 25-10 at the minute. My 10% is just £4.5 away. So I'm going to match you. I'm going to match your 4.5 with another 4.5. You have that. You take that. You take that.
Yeah, take that and party.
Actually, you know what? I've just thought I've cocked this up because I can't weigh in next week.
No.
Because I'll be in Benidorm.
So you'll have to do it the following week. All right. So now you need to be realistic about Benidorm, don't you?
Yeah. Well, I had this conversation with Denise about this earlier. I reckon if I'm really good this week, okay, before I go to Benidorm, then whilst I'm in Benidorm, I may put on what I've lost this week.
Yeah.
But I've still then got 5 days before I weigh in again because I'm only in Benidorm for 3 and a bit days.
Right. So when
I've still got then 5 days before I weigh in again. So I might be all right.
When are you going to Benidorm?
Sunday morning, early Sunday, 6 a.m.
Okay. So you're not going to have a weigh-in at all, are you?
No, because apparently I'm not allowed to weigh in early.
Yeah, that's not right. That's not right.
Now, I can weigh in Benidorm. There are Slimming World groups in Benidorm, but they're not actual Slimming World groups. They are just people who follow the Slimming World thing. And you can go to a group and they have scales. But I just, we discussed this on a few episodes ago. Risky. I just want to weigh in on one set of scales.
Risky. That risky.
So the plan is to just really be careful of what I'm eating. So, I mean, I've gone full board, so I've got all the meal choices at the hotel, but, whether I make it for those is anyone's guess. It's just the uncertainty because you don't know how things are being cooked. So it's all about damage limitation. I'm not a massive beer drinker. I'll have one because I enjoy the first one. I always enjoy the first one and the second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth when I'm there with my homies. But I'm more of a Diet Coke and vodka, Diet Coke and dark rum or whatever. That's my kind of thing, really. So I'm going to be going down that road. And look, it is what it is. I'm away with my mates for a few days. If I put weight on, I know I can lose it again. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. But I am going to always lean more towards the healthier choices.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. And if you lose weight, what noise will you? If you don't lose weight, what noise will you have? Yeah. I think you just got to be realistic, basically.
Yeah, I think but I would like to come back from Benidorm with my 10%. So I'm still going to go for 4.5. But yeah, I'm back on. Hang on, let me get my calendar out. Calendar. So I'm back on. I go on the 24th. I come back on. Well, Thursday morning, the 28th, at like 1 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. So my next weigh-in will be the 2nd of 2nd of May. So you'll know how I've done on Friday, the 6th of May, which is when episode 8 will come out. So
okay. All right then. Right. Well, have a fantastic time in Benidorm. No doubt I'll speak to you before you go to Benidorm, but
of course you will.
Stick with it.
And good luck for Wednesday. £4.5.
Thank you. I'm just, fingers crossed. That's all I'm going to say.
Onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
To everyone else, thank you for watching this very belated and late episode 7.
Yes.
Episode 6 of Too Fat DJs. Don't forget, if you're listening, you can watch us on YouTube. Just go to our website, toofatdjs.co.uk. You will find all the links on there for all the different platforms we're on. Still haven't worked out Google Podcasts. I don't know why they make it so complicated, but I'll get there eventually. But
I think every episode we should end on a little saying. So my one that I'd like to share with all of our viewers is this week, everyone, just try to be a better person.
Wise words, mate.
What about you? Or have I put you on the spot?
You've put me on the spot.
Think of one. If you can't think of one, Ian, then don't worry. We'll save that one till next week.
No, I'm gonna think of one. Oh yeah. I've got one. I was just googling it. I know what I'm gonna say. Be excellent to each other.
That's nice, mate.
That's Bill and Ted reference.
That is so nice, Ian. That is lovely. And if you see a fat person, be nice to a fat person, because deep down they're just like everyone else.
That's it. They are just like everyone else.
Should we say goodbye,
Right,
Ian?
let's go.
Should we say goodbye, Ian? After 3. 1, 2, 3. Goodbye, Ian.
Goodbye, Ian.
Bye, Ian.
How did you want to say Nick?
No, you can say goodbye, Ian, as well. I think they know what we're talking about.
I've just said it. I'm not saying it again. This video's long enough.
Yeah, I know. All right. Right, okay. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll catch you soon. See you later.
Bye.